Mailchi. Alright, in this video we're getting into what got me into the heavier side of industrial music. Somebody had asked this question, a friend from Vancouver had asked this question, and I answered it in the one of the YouTube comment feeds that he had asked it. But I think from my YouTube, people have this idea that that maybe I'm a purist when it comes to industrial music, and that I come from one of the original first wave of industrial acts like Throbbing Gristle and stuff like that. But truthfully, I was always kind of into the heavier side of industrial music because in my teen years, first started listening to White Zombie, their album Last Exorcisto. And while I wouldn't say that is completely industrial, actually, out of all honesty, I wouldn't say any of it is really industrial. White Zombie was quickly becoming my favorite band at the time when I was a teenager. And then I think it was for Christmas, I can't remember what year it was, but I ended up getting their album Astro Creep 2000 for Christmas. And that album, I would say, definitely featured a lot of heavier and industrial elements. And at the time, I really loved White Zombie, and I thought that Astro Creep 2000 album was fucking amazing. Of course, as time passed, and somewhere in there, I ended up, I don't know if it was before I actually heard Astro Creep 2000 or if it was after, but at some point in there, I actually ended up hearing Nine Inch Nails' first album, Pretty Hate Machine, and that was kind of the catalyst that kind of kicked me really into the heavier side of things. Granted, Pretty Hate Machine, not super heavy, but I think it sort of kicked off that whole side of things for me. Like, yes, White Zombie sort of pushed me in that direction, and then Nine Inch Nails kind of like, okay, I am into this stuff. And the second Nine Inch Nails album that I had actually purchased was, I had heard the Downward Spiral, and I went to go purchase it, and I mistakenly purchased Further Down the Spiral, which is like this heavy-ass, distorted remix album of the Downward Spiral. And I realized after I put it into my CD player and hit play that I'd made the mistake of buying the remix album, but I decided to keep it anyway because I thought it was pretty fucking good for what it was. And then at some point I grabbed the Downward Spiral, and there was a point in high school as well that I had come across Ministry, and I think it was just like friends that were like, oh yeah, Ministry, you gotta listen to Ministry, and then of course I heard some Ministry, and I can't remember what albums that I heard first. I think it might have been either Psalm 69 or The Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste, one of those two, and then I ended up purchasing both of those albums. At some point in high school, I think I was still in high school, Ministry released their Filth Pig album, which I actually think it's a pretty heavy album. Like it heavy in the sense that it's very groovy. I would almost say Filth Pig is probably my favorite Ministry album, just because it's just got that heavy chunk and groove, I guess. So that's kind of how I got into the heavier side of industrial. Like, truthfully speaking, in the beginning I was kind of into the heavier stuff anyway, and it's only actually been recently that I've, recently as in the last, I don't know how many years, but 7 years, 5 to 7 years, that I've kind of dipped into things like Throbbing Gristle and SPK, and that's kind of how I got into the heavier stuff. Or it kind of was from the beginning of my industrial music story. There were other bands that I had heard, like Danzig, Black Acid Evil. At that point when I first started, I think I was still in high school at that point, or I was just out, I can't remember, but at that point I had heard that, and that was kind of when all the bands, including Danzig, were kind of jumping on the whole we want to do industrial now bandwagon, and all of the other industrial music kind of came after that, and that's it. I just wanted to tell that story. I hope it was clear enough for you. If you have any questions or comments regarding this getting into the heavier side of industrial, you leave those in the comment section. Try to answer them to the best of my ability. If you feel this video has value, share, give it a like. And if you feel this channel has value, please hit that subscribe button to be notified when the next video comes out. And hey, we just released a new album called Winter Isolation, or we'll be about to release that album. So go take a listen. It's on our Bandcamp at twitch-official.bandcamp.com. Take a listen, let us know what you think. It's our album themed around winter and winter isolation, obviously, because it is called Winter Isolation. And yeah, let us know what you think. Anyway, that's it for this video. Fuck.